Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is State of the Galaxy, Episode 11. We've got a special guest with us since Justin couldn't be with us. Miles from Zors. It is Miles, right?
Yeah.
People pronounce it like 7 different ways that I've heard.
I think it's where you live in the country. Is that how you pronounce it?
Okay.
Either or is fine.
Milosevic?
Okay.
We haven't done a show in a while. About a month now. I think the last show was on the 30th of November. So I figured it was about time. We've been a little busy, so you'll have to forgive us there. We're going to start things off by talking about the launch of Shadow of Revan. What we thought went well and what didn't. First and foremost, pretty damn laggy. And I don't remember McKeb being like this. I remember McKeb having like 12 instances, but I don't remember it being like a 3 or 4 second delay on ability casts like Yavin can get.
That's the new slow-mo feature that BioWare brought out for the X-Pack. It makes you look cooler.
Is that part of, is that like reverse alacrity?
Yeah, totally.
I enjoyed leveling through the lag. It was really fun.
Yeah. It made me, because Pop 5's PvP, it made me really nervous, but I never, ever got attacked while leveling for some reason.
You should have leveled with me.
Well, you're fucking Dom, so I'm sure everybody attacked you all the time.
Oh, they tried.
Try.
Yeah. Forgot I'm a merc, dude.
Oh, yeah. We'll get into that in a little
Okay,
while.
never next bench.
Speaking of Yavin, though, it felt like you hit a brick wall when you got to Yavin as part of the leveling experience. As far as XP gain goes, do you feel like that way to anybody else?
Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to hit that wall because I leveled up before I left Rishi.
I mean, what did you?
I definitely did. Because I didn't do the Forge Alliance's chest coin when I was not playing the game. And I think I left Rishi at like 57.5. So, hold on. Think of it. Actually, no. 58.5. Because of Forge Alliances. Like, if you had done it previously, you didn't get the full leveling experience. Like the full Yavin have to do everything.
Yeah.
But, not sure why.
No, I get... That was kind of... that kind of bothered me a lot, that people who hadn't done Forge Alliances got a whole bunch of bonus XP. Like, I'm pretty sure on my commando, I was 57 before I went to Rishi because of that. But on all my other characters who had done it, all my Imperial characters, I left Rishi at the ass end of 58, and I did the whole quest line on Yavin and didn't hit 60, and to do other shit.
Yep. I wasn't a fan of how they punished you for doing previous content.
Yeah, I'm obviously, I'm sure it wasn't intentional if you ask anybody at BioWare, but that's how it came out. So yeah, Yavin quest rewards scaled poorly. What about the date of launch? I know how I feel about this, but I wanted to ask you, Miles. How is coordinating people's schedules during the holiday season?
It was extremely rough. I would say January would have been better with everyone having finals and Christmas and holidays.
Yeah.
Like, we had a rough stop of, like, I would say December 17th when people started leaving to go visit family and stuff, so rather poor, rating-wise.
I would agree. I don't know about January. I mean, they made this big public commitment to releasing it this year. So, I don't know. They probably shouldn't have made that commitment, but then again, we were all complaining before everything came out that there was nothing to do. So, in a sense, that there's no way they can win. But yes, coordinating people around this time of year especially is pretty horrible for the content cycle. And it really reflects on, how little we've rated in the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I think this week and most of last week was, if we have 8, we can try to raid. If not, just enjoy the holidays and be back in come January.
All right. Anything else you guys want to say about launch? Other than, the lag and the fact that Yavin felt like it was scaling poorly, I felt it was in a good state. Other than some other issues that are like design-wise, I don't know if this was ready, but we'll get into that when we talk about the doom and gloom.
Well, bugs that I had issue with, mostly on Rishi.
The bugs, the one quest on Rishi, sure. Although on the first couple characters, what do you mean still? It's fixed.
Oh, it's not fixed.
Yes, it is.
Because no, it isn't. You can, at least for me, I redid the 3 Groffets, and after that, once you hit the pheromone part, it does not work anymore.
I seriously have not experienced that since they said they fixed it. The tree quest.
Yeah, I leveled 55 to 60 on my pub the other day, and it was working fine.
Yeah. Same thing on my commando.
I ran into an issue with the pheromones not giving me
whatever the one where you hang up the meat on the tree.
Oh yeah, I've never had that not work since they fixed it. Like I've gone back on other characters and done it too.
I will say though that the first couple characters I leveled, it was working for them, or at least I found an instance that was working.
That annoyed me so much on launch day because I'm OCD, and it really bugged me that I couldn't finish Rishi until I had that complete.
You really didn't leave Rishi until you did that? Because I sure
did
shit
not
did
leave Rishi.
on the one character that it bugged on.
Well, I leveled to 60 before I left Rishi, so yeah.
I think the more egregious bug was on Revan solo.
Oh. I actually was okay the first time I did it. It's when I tried to do the weekly after that just went to hell on me. And OCD kicked in and I wiped like 40 times on it before I finally went to bed.
It bugged out when I did the weekly too, but I was still tanking on my power tech, so it didn't matter.
Yeah, mine bugged out. I went in there with a SWAT team of like 7 people and took it down. It just annoyed me too much to leave it alone.
On my sniper, I kind of left it alone until I got to the point where I had nothing to do and did it anyway. I had to line of sight him while he was casting, because he can't cast Force Choke through the goddamn pillars, but he can cast everything else. Like, he can knock you down and, what do you call it? Dual Saber Throw? He can do that through the pillar, but he can't cast Force Choke. So if Force Choke is like the next on his queue, you can waste his time and kill him with dots, but it takes like 20 minutes, and you can't make mistakes, because if you do, you're CC'd for 1,000 years. That's another thing about that fight. I really think they put too much goddamn CC in there.
They have too much CC in general in this game. It drives me nuts, losing control of my character.
I'm pretty sure that Jakaro is actually supposed to tank and not just guard you, so that, like, he and Darth Mar trade it, but he doesn't. He doesn't do anything. He just guards you if you happen to be near him while you're taking damage. Alright, anything else about launch? Dom, anything that bothered you in your weird launch? Not lunch.
Let me see, my weirdness. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. I should have written this down.
Oh, good.
I'll come up with it like 15 minutes later when we're talking about something else. And I'll be like, oh yeah.
That's fine. How about the lore? What'd y'all think? The story, Chapter 5.
I loved it.
Really?
Yeah, it's Bounty Hunter. It was a little strange how they ended it, but at the same time I had a lot of fun while doing it.
How they ended it, what do you mean? What was strange about it?
Well, they kind of bring the Bounty Hunter in more like into an actual role in the Empire. Like, he's got power in the Empire now instead of just being like a outsource.
It's not like that. I mean, they just say you've got basically what amounts to diplomatic immunity.
Yeah, and suddenly we're the bad guy from Lethal Weapon 2.
Yes. Basically, you can operate with impunity as long as you're with the Empire. Like, they're not going to fucking prosecute you. because Darthmar. That's the big thing that's the thing that struck me about this chapter is Darthmar is basically the best character.
Oh yeah, I had a huge freaking Mar boner at the end of the story, like when he does his little closing dialogue and it zooms back.
Yeah, I actually like that one. Like, I liked the one at the end of McKeb. I like that one better.
Yeah, he gives a pretty good speech there too.
Okay, as far as Rishi goes, I didn't really like it at all.
Get out of here. I think I can't be friends with you anymore. I'm sorry. This is we're over. We're done.
It's that pirate shit is just contrived. I don't care.
I love Rishi. Like I sit on there all day. Get my pirate on. I got my full pirate swag.
You don't sit on there all day. You're on the fleet.
Talking about Thor. I'm talking about Thor when I'm doing PvP.
Which is like all the time. In fact,
yeah,
I'm
gonna
opening up the guild thing. You're on the fleet.
Yeah, once we finish this, I'm going to go do my dailies.
Mm-hmm. You still do that shit? It gave you like 100,000, what do you call them, rep tokens.
No.
Dom, you never have to do dailies on Rishi.
Oh, I do. I didn't get no 100,000 things.
There's
I seriously...
on Rishi?
Yeah, there are, like, a couple. Like, you can kill she who greedily devours, or whatever her stupid name is. The Kel Dragon, you can kill that thing for another offhand for your companions.
Yeah, I've been getting them all.
Purple rep token.
Oh. I know, I leveled, I think 4 characters now, and I have enough rep to cap out.
Yeah, that's more than enough to hit cap. Same for me. Like, I don't know why you're bothering with that shit, Dom. You do have to do it on Yavin, because you don't get nearly as much.
I'm not even close to cap on Rishi. Yeah, so I don't know.
How many
I don't do
characters
it
have you
every
leveled?
single day, though, but yeah. 2.
Oh, well, that's why.
And I didn't even level the other one on Rishi. The other one I leveled purely through flashpoints and crafting conquest.
That sounds painful.
I love conquest. It is the greatest thing that was ever made.
But yeah, as far as Rishi goes, I didn't really care much for the little side story with the pirates. It's not really a side story. I get that it's leading up to finding out what Revan's up to, but I didn't care. It felt beneath the player character to have to bother with this shit.
It did feel out of place compared to what storyline on Yavin is, and where it goes from there.
Yeah, it really got into the flow, like, during and after the Battle of Rishi.
You're crazy.
I mean, once the factions actually get involved, then it feels like I'm doing something important.
I still like. I felt like they didn't give me enough. I love my pirate.
And as far as the rest of the lore, I liked Yavin's story. It was all right. There was no Exar Kun, which like begs a lot of questions for anybody who knows anything about the history there. But we already knew that when I asked in California. And finally, I can talk about the Emperor being back. So they brought him back, right? It doesn't sound like they're going to like use him immediately, based on what they told me in California. I believe they said Charles is not going to write us out of business. Was the exact quote.
He's still charging up his laser. He's getting ready.
I mean, did he leave as a ghost? Or is he in a body yet? It felt like, I guess he must have been a ghost.
Yeah, because you just hear him doing his whoa and all that crap.
But yeah, as far as referencing other Star Wars lore goes, they could have done more. There's nice little data pads in Temple of Sacrifice that I'm sure people have found. I saw a Reddit post about them today, actually.
Unless you're blind as shit and you forget halfway through that you never clicked the first 2.
And you've been in there like twice, Dom.
And I'm retarded.
And those talk about some of the lore too, but that's not like... It's not enough for me. It's a very self-contained story, which is good for a lot of reasons in that, you know, they don't get off into the bushes on stuff that doesn't really matter for what they're the story they're trying to tell. But it would be nice to have something there that's not just about Revan and the Emperor. Alright. Anything else about lore?
I wish I had anything to say, but I'm lost.
Alright, we can move on to ops then. How do we feel about the design? What fights are satisfying? And after that we can talk about the state of hard mode. So, Miles, what do you think about the ops?
I think I love BioWare for this round of content. Outside of the bugs and just the stuff that's not working as intended, I really enjoyed... Well, yes, Tor. I really enjoyed this content cycle, and I usually take breaks during hard mode cycles, and I probably won't this time around because it's really fun. Granted, class balance and operational balance is kind of in a bad place, but I don't know, play ranged in order bounty hunters.
I mean, play bounty hunters is the actual piece of advice you should give. This content cycle is very ambitious for a host of reasons. One, the fights are fairly complex. I do like, you know, like things like the Underlurker. You don't see that very often. In fact, I can't think of any other fight that requires positioning be specific like that in order to not die. And yeah, there are bugs where it sometimes doesn't work, but that it seems like it's in a good place right now. I haven't encountered that bug in my own raids in a while. I hear that people who do 16-man might actually encounter it more. Is that like a thing? Does anybody do 16-man?
I'm pretty sure it's still not working right on 16. I know on 8, when they patch and try to like improve it, they went backwards with it, and like now the boss will channel Devastation outside right after Rage Storm, and so that's auto wipe unless your tank knows how to handle it. And with the way like service sites stuff works in this game, like I thought it was a poor overall design, just with like
That's
placement
true.
and stuff. Like in Nightmare, if I wipe when we see green, I'm gonna be angry.
I'm going to be pissed off too. What they should have done was make him jump to the middle every time. If that's
That
going to
would
be
be really
the
good for
case.
Nightmare.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, it would make it easier in a sense, yes, but it would mean that no one would ever die to server positioning being wrong. As far as the other fights go, they're all pretty good, except for Revan is pretty anti-melee to like a serious extreme.
I agree with that. I would say I pray for the operatives and our marauders that go to Revan and try to do that fight.
I mean, even assassins who are not as dependent on it as operatives and marauders and juggernauts, they have a tough time. Like, Tenebris fucking hates it. I'm pretty sure we're just not gonna like run non-bounty hunters in there anymore. I mean, for a different reason.
Yeah, that would be reasonable. Like, I don't know. I like the fight overall, but like the class stuff it's hard playing melees on fights like that to work. Blaster and Master, not Blaster and Master so much.
Yeah, I've Master and Blaster is not that horrible. There's parts about it that suck, like the flame thing.
When you have to do, when you have to do the flame thing and you get to burn the little guy, it's like, well, if I go over there, I'm in this danger zone. I don't know if I want to do that. Outside of that, I think most other fights are fine for melee. But yes, they still, overall, it's just range scheme.
Torque's a little shitty. In fact, Torque's a lot shitty for melee.
Yeah.
If you don't, I mean, if you're not a power tech, and obviously, I'm going to make this point later, power techs are not melee. If you're not a power tech, you're going to, like, have a lot of trouble with Torque.
Yeah, I think
It's
I watched,
doable, though.
I want to say it might have been 7 stuck. I watched the Marauders POV. It might have been Drop It Like It's Hot. And he gets trapped in the corner, and so he's just sitting in the corner because he can't do any damage. Doesn't have a leap up. He chills in the corner for 5 seconds doing no damage until the fire decides to let him out of the corner. Whereas PT and or range don't have that issue.
Yeah. Let's see. The fights that I really like from this round are Master Blaster, just because it's a funny fight. I don't particularly enjoy doing it, but it's funny. And Revan Commanders, which I enjoy doing every single week because it's fun as shit.
Yeah, I think Blaster's up there with my favorite fight. Just the dialogue of the Blaster talking shit to you, and letting you know that when you wiped it, you didn't even get to his mini droid. I'd say my favorite fight would be Cortani. Phase 2 and 1 are really fun. I really like walkers for some reason, even though it's not that hard. I just like the overall design and flow of it.
I like the way it flows too, except like I don't enjoy doing it because I'm the guy running the bomb. So like I do no DPS. I mean, I do DPS. I'm not off by like thousands or anything, but it really cuts it down.
Yeah, well, you guys got 10 Empress back now, so incoming force or phase walk bomb carrying.
No, it's still better for me to do it.
You think?
Yeah, I blow hydraulics before I pick it up, and I fucking haul ass. Plus, I mean, while I'm running to the bomb, I'll shoot the other walker with my 1,000-meter range bullshit. Because Pyrotech is garbage. Yeah. What about the rest of y'all? What do you feel about this tier?
It'd be really nice if I could see it.
You've seen it to an extent.
I've seen blurs.
Well, you don't see anything anymore. That's beside the point. What do you feel when you're mashing the buttons, unable to see anything but a blur?
I actually go off sound cues more than vision right now.
How does the app sound to you?
Sounds great.
All right.
Like, I can tell when I'm about to get the shit kicked out of me because I'm standing in the wrong spot.
All right. How do you feel about the way they've tuned up hard mode? I'm really interested in what Miles has to say about this.
Okay, so personally, and everyone in Zoris, we love it, and we are so excited for Nightmare. To the general audience, and this is the main reason we're doing guides, it's going to be rough, and I don't see most guilds being able to kill the first, or, hold on. I would say potentially can kill the second bosses if they work at it, but outside of that, it's not friendly to people that don't.
A lot of people who I follow who are in those kind of guilds, they are having trouble with Bulo and walkers. They can kill them. I think Bulo is probably more forgiving. Well, not forgiving, because he has a bunch of stupid burst damage. He's easier to figure out than walkers, as far as the timing goes. Like, walkers has this shield thing that I've got down to a rhythm from running the bomb. But Bulo's not quite like that.
Yeah. And I see the later fights, unless Bioware nerfs him, I don't see the average hard mode guild
No way.
killing him.
No way in hell. And let's be serious, they are going to nerf Revan. They have to nerf Revan, or they
have to change it. Hopefully someone kills it quickly so we can show you why 8 bounty hunters is a thing, and force pressure on Bioware to change what happens. But right now, it's not fun for most classes outside of bounty hunters.
It's really terrible. And beyond that, other things that need to change in that fight are the targeting priorities for the Phase 1 debuff. There's no reason it should favor melee, and it almost certainly does.
Yeah. I know you guys run 2 power tech sometimes, and it's when they both get attacked well, and it's a power tech DPS, so you still have ranged abilities. If it's a Marauder, Operative, melee class, they have no damage in a phase that you don't really need that much damage, but the quicker you phase it, the easier it is. So.
Yes. And I've run that fight on my Juggernaut in hard mode. It's not fun at all. It's basically the worst experience I've had raiding. Let's see. Cortani, I'm not so sure. We have less experience on it. But I can see that happening. I know what goes on in that fight. So it makes sense to me that they're probably going to need to nerf it. It probably needs it less than Revan, I would say.
I would say Cortana hard mode is more difficult than Revan hard mode, just
Really?
because what happens in Phase 2, like, spoiler alert,
Yeah.
you can get wombo comboed, like, and it's not fun getting wombo comboed.
Oh, like a Bulo thing with the mouse droids.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Every fight should have a mouse droid.
Honestly,
Just saying.
that seems like a serious oversight that there are so many instances where you can just get blown up and you actually cannot be healed through it.
And also, we've killed Cortana 3 times, and every time we've hit enrage. And we have really good DPS. But the average guild, I just don't see how it's feasible without getting heavy nerfs.
As for me, what I think about the up-jumped hard modes is, I agree. Average guilds are not going to be able to cope. I'm afraid that people are going to quit raiding in hard mode altogether, and that'll lessen their interest in the game in general. The other thing I don't like about it is that in order to make Nightmare harder, it's going to be dick-rippingly difficult. Which, yeah, I know, Miles, you disagree with me. I'm not looking forward to that very much.
Yeah,
every fight should not be Dreadguards, and in order to make every fight harder, it's going to have to be close to that.
Yeah, I just wonder where Bioware they got the idea. They're like, okay, we're just going to do this. It's an experiment. They're going to see if it works out. But
I have a suspicion
it.
that they're trying to drag it out. What do you think about that?
That would make sense. I know they probably didn't like what we did during Nightmare GP.
I know they didn't.
And so, yeah, they prevented us from doing week 1 clear, 10 out of 10. We did get Revan week 1.
If you want to real talk that, they need to change the entire way they do PTS if they want that not to happen.
I 100% agree. I wish they had an internal testing team, or they. I think my best
Well, it doesn't have to be an
scenario-
internal. It doesn't have to be an internal team, but they should each build of PTS, and it should be updated for as many bosses as exist. Each build of PTS should not be up forever, and it should only have 1 boss available for testing, or 2, given this is a 2 raid tier.
That would be good too. Or you could do what I thought suggested. Invite players from the top, I don't know, 10, 15 guilds, and just have them each sign an NDA so they can't talk to the girl about it. That won't work because
I don't think that'll
really work. But then have 1 person from D&C, 1 person from Zors, 1 person from Drop Like It's Hot, 1 person from 7 Stack, and if it's manageable, they rate as the 8 and do it. So
I mean, that would be interesting. It'd be cool to be a part of. I'm not sure how viable that is.
yeah, that's what the viability is low. Your idea is probably the best one I could think of.
And I don't know if
You
they
could also do each guild gets 1 boss.
Yeah, but how the hell do you stop them from doing that? Give them
Well,
each, run a server each for one of them? I mean, for each one that you invite?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Plus, then you don't have multiple eyes on bugs, so.
That's true. I mean, that's... Superficially, that is the reason we go in there. In reality, we go in there to practice. I mean, that's just the way it is.
I agree. During DF, we ran into a bug on Draxus where his shield never went down in the phase, so you couldn't kill him for a week and a half. And
I
during
remember
DP, we luckily didn't run into it because we had a lockout already.
It was Tyrans, I think, right?
But Tyrants
Yeah.
had auto kill fire,
We did run into that, and it sucked.
so people couldn't test other stuff. And then on 16, man, Calpheus, there was 4 or is it 2 or 4? Hold on. I think it was 4 ads. They're responding, and so they needed to get that fixed. And then I guess they did lots of quality of life changes to Council. Before it was RNG if you got killed by Bestia.
Mm-hmm.
Before they changed the defense chance or something. I don't know what exactly they changed, but you could resist the knockback and die. So they changed that. Got it working properly.
But yeah, PTS if the game is going to be competitive, should probably change. But I mean, whatever.
I agree.
I'm not immensely upset with it. The system as it is fine. It just could be better. Okay. Anything else to say about the ops? We're kind of running through the topics pretty quickly here. I will say they all look really nice. It's obvious where they've been spending their time lately. Everything looks like a pretty new asset, for example, so kudos to the art department.
I agree.
Okay, if nothing else about ops, we can talk a little bit more about Doom and Gloom. And you didn't actually have a chance to weigh in on this while we were making predictions before launch, Miles, so I'll let you start us off. What do you think the game's going to be like in like a month, the population-wise?
I see it declining. For me personally, and I guess from a rating perspective, people that enjoy rating it won't. But outside of that, I'm not exactly sure what everyone else got in 3.0. They got 4 flashpoints that are story mode and or tactical, a couple hard modes that are, but there's not much outside of that. I know most people do conquests in Galactic Starship, but outside of that, it's just they don't have nothing to do, and they're gonna get bored once the "ooh, this is new" runs out.
I agree, and the reason that I said it last time is because not enough gameplay has changed. Because all those things can be mitigated if your day-to-day gameplay on whatever you're doing is different from what it used to be, but it's not. It's for most classes, they play pretty much the same. Especially, I mean, and I only say especially because this is the class I played, Sniper feels fucking the same. Does Sword feel the same? Oh yeah, PT tanking is identical. And it made me laugh that you wrote a guide for it, because what the fuck is different about it from 2.0? Except for like one cooldown, and you have another stacking buff that just happens automatically, so you don't even have to talk about it.
Yeah. Madness is it's got Force Leech, and Demolish is
Force Leech is
Darkness.
different. Yeah, you're right about that.
Lightning is basically you replace Force Lightning with what's the ability called? Lightning Flash, and the rotation is a little bit different, but it's all 80-90% the same thing that it was pre 3.0.
Yeah, I mean there were superficial changes to like Vengeance. You don't have to stack 2 buffs to reset your Ravage anymore, and shit like that. And honestly, it plays even better than it did, and it already was one of the more fun specs in my opinion. Power text didn't change at all. I mean, not really.
Yeah.
And like I said earlier, snipers, it's a problem when the game's not fresh, and the best way to make the game fresh is to change the way people play. I am afraid that the population is going to suffer for it. Not that the disciplines was a bad idea. I'm glad they did it. I just wish they were more ambitious with the kind of changes they wanted to make to classes. But
I think
mean,
disciplines
I don't know.
6 months down the road would be a really good idea, because it's going to help class balancing. But as I said in my guide today, disciplines is basically everything you got from running hybrid specs. They just give it to you for free now. Like all the PT utilities are from the AP tree, and you basically just get increased hydraulics, move speed, everything that was good about it with full mitigation.
Except for the fucking AoE damage reduction, which is the only reason anybody did it.
Yes, I guess that's the one thing that is missing. But I'm pretty sure every class is like that.
Yeah, there are serious quality of life improvements, and I don't mean to downplay a lot of that. Like, I'm super stoked that Marksman is not the most survivable spec for Sniper, just because of its buffed entrench. And that's like my bias against Marksman talking. But it makes me feel good that Virulence now has access to it, even though I'm not going to play it. So it does, I mean, on-the-fly spec switching is a lot easier. I guess that's cool for people who don't know what they're doing. I don't know.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the new system. It makes respecing mid-raid really easy compared to what it was. I don't like how you can't
do it while people are healing. I hate that. I fucking hate it.
And that the new abilities you get from the different disciplines, they go in your first 4 bars of your action set. Not action set, it's Wild Star. Ability bar.
It's the first 4. Yeah.
So you have to go digging in your inventory if you don't change them beforehand.
Yeah, that's kind of irritating. I don't know. I change specs pretty frequently before, so I'm kind of used to moving shit around on my bars. I guess the only character I don't ever change specs on is my Juggernaut, just because I don't see any reason not to play Vengeance.
Yeah.
But I play AP and Pyro pretty evenly. Actually, I play more Pyro than I do AP for my power tech, so I don't know. It's getting to the point where it's just becoming muscle memory what thing to drag where. How about you, Dom? Does the new system help you in your blindness?
Yeah, I mean, it's okay. I mean, I'm a merc, so from a PvE standpoint, it's okay. There is a little ability bloat, I'd say, with IO, but, I mean, it's pretty insane as far as damage output.
I'm going to criticize your class, actually. I think there's ability bloat for that whole fucking class. My Commando has the fullest bar of any of my characters, and it's ridiculous. I have a Sentinel too, and his bar isn't as full as my Commando's.
It's just a little ability bloat. And they didn't really address survivability as well as they could have as far as the PvE or PvP side. We still don't have that. We still don't have a PvP deterrent. As to it's always burn.
It's doing a billion damage. That's your PvP deterrent.
Yeah,
or deterrent.
We're being focused because of the damage output, not because we have an actual thing to survive. I mean, look at what the other classes and specs get to survive. You're not going to open up on a freaking Guardian.
I mean, I'm not going to open up on a Guardian because he can heal himself to full.
Heal, reflect.
And make me pay. I mean, he has 1,000 cooldowns and you have 2.
Yeah, and that's another thing too. They took away a lot of Merc's off-healing ability when it comes to combat, and it kind of bugs me because I used to off-heal quite a lot in PvP. But I guess that's more of a personal preference.
It seems like they made it better, because you still have your fast heal and you have an instant. I guess you can't fucking Kolto missile,
but
so I guess you didn't.
You
traded Kolto missile for emergency scan.
I think that's a good trade.
Do you? Because it costs energy for non-healers, right?
10.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not noticeable. It's the cooldown that's the problem.
But it's stronger than Kolto, so.
Yeah, but when you have a 20-second cooldown, it's well, thanks. I'll just be running around praying I can hold out until
Mercs definitely have the weakest self-healing of the classes who can DPS and self-heal.
Yeah, I mean, at least in Arsenal,
pretty
when
sure
I get
Sork
my
is better.
Charges up, I can instant.
And I know Operative is better. Operative self-healing for DPS is pretty considerable. Just run around with Kolto probes on you all the time. Is Kolto probe right? I get that confused with the Merc one.
But I will say this: the Arsenal burst in PvP is absolutely ridiculous. I just destroy people.
I'm sure you do, because you ignore 99% armor all the time for all your abilities.
Yeah, and
I was reading through your fucking ability list. It's stupid.
Yeah, and with supercharged Asa pretty much all the time, it's oh my gosh, it's insane.
All right, since we're talking about this anyway, we can get into the big block of balance complaint. Bounty hunters. Bounty hunters are absolutely the best class for everything. I mean, maybe there's an argument to be made that they're not the best in PvP.
They're not.
Aren't they? I
No.
mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's conclusive yet. Because they're certainly the hardest healers for me to kill, for example.
I think the Sorks are.
Once the Sork's bubble is down,
squishy.
like, they're pretty fucking
They can-
squishy, dude.
They can kite like mad though if they're good.
And
A good
mercenaries
Sork is
can't.
harder to kill than a decent Merc. Or that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
A good Sork is harder to kill than a good Merc, I think.
I don't know.
In
I
PvP.
have way more trouble with Mercs than I do Sorks. But that's me.
I would agree that Sorks are harder. At the same skill level, would be harder to kill. With the changes they got healing-wise. And DPS-wise, they just keep tear you to death. And, yeah.
I always smile when I'm in an arena and I see a Sork run towards me instead of away. I'm just like, you're done.
All right. But back to the actual point. Bounty hunters are way too fucking good. And there's two issues that I can tell that's making them too fucking good. One, IO does way too much damage.
It's pretty.
I don't think
disgusting.
anybody would argue with that.
I'm going to disagree. Fascinate gets carried in most raids.
Yeah,
Damage.
after
Oh, so you don't know Miles. He is choking, I'm sure.
after seeing that parse that he threw up this morning, I was like, wow, that's disgusting.
Yeah,
was
what
it
did
like
No.
a 5300?
He's at 300 now. Between him and Marisi in our raid team, they're always 300 to 500 above the next DPS just because Arsenal is performing so well.
IO, you mean?
Yeah, my bad.
Yes. That's the problem with Mercs as far as I can tell. The rest of Mercs other than IO don't seem like they're that unreasonable. Would anybody disagree?
Arsenal seems pretty well with it. It's parsing, what, like 45, 4600?
And it's your burst spec. Like, it should be lower than IO. I'm not saying nerf IO below Arsenal because that would be weird. And there would be no reason to play IO. But IO
Although I
should
would-
be
I
brought
would
into
love it.
line with the sustained specs of other range DPS.
Yeah. I was talking to Fascinate how he would nerf IO because he knows it needs nerf, but he doesn't want it to get nerfed. And he says that it just has so much, like, passive surge, not passive surge, but, like, you get a surge bonus, you get all these bonuses that, like, just stack and stack and stack and stack, and it does.
You don't think it
What it
just seems
does?
like a coefficient nerf on its highest damage stuff, or what?
He said if you do take, like, the 10% surge bonus and drop that down to, like, 4 to 5%, and you drop, like, percentage off the... Is it max shot? Which one does the dot? I'm not that familiar with it.
Serrated shot.
Yeah, serrated shot. He said if you
Serrated.
drop the dot damage there, it would go down a lot between those two things.
Probably. Yeah, serrated does do a lot.
The Merc problem is, like I said, easier to fix than the Power Tech one. Because the Power Tech one is not a problem of, what do you call it? Damage. It's about how much damage it can do while moving and not suffer any of the penalties of being melee.
Yeah, it's the hybrid of Star Wars. Like, it's melee for rocket punch, but after that, you can play it at 10 meters. Like, not sure what Byro wants with the class. Outside
AP,
of
you don't have to rocket punch.
Yeah.
Which is better.
What's that, Frian?
I said for AP, you don't even have to rocket punch. It's just better.
Yes. I mean, it is more damage than Mag Burst, I think it's
Yeah,
called.
and it's 2 less heat, but well, with a set bonus.
Yeah. No, it is preferable to be in melee range, but you don't have to be, and you do like 95% of your damage from 15 meters or over. Because other than Rocket Punch, you never have to enter within 15 meters. You can just stand outside and burst people down. I guess Energy Burst might have a 10-meter range, but you only do that, twice every minute? I don't actually know the math.
Sounds about right.
Okay, so as far as I can tell, it's mostly AP. That's way too much damage for what it can do while moving. how the hell do you fix it without like completely redesigning the class? Because I don't think they're going to drop rail shot, for example, down to 10 meters.
Back in the day, that's what they did with the era
Incendiary missile.
1.2, where everything was in 1.2, everything was 30 meters. They just dropped everything down, and it got better.
Yeah, but that was like the era where people just stopped playing power tech. I think they went too far eventually. I don't know if that was 1.2 or if it was later though, so I could be wrong on my dates there.
I can't name one, I guess, balancing issues where they nerfed the class and didn't just go into oblivion. I guess snipers with orbitals, they were so relevant just because how Marksman worked in most Nightmare fights. But like Madness worked from 2.8 to now, and you don't play Madness in raids. I don't want to see the pain. Like, they don't balance very well when they do nerf stuff.
Yes, I would agree. They tend to go too far. I'm not saying that AP needs like a damage nerf either. Because if you damage nerf them, that's just going to make it basically unplayable. It's about their movement and how they don't suffer any penalties from being melee. Would you say that Pyro suffers the same issue? Or is the same way in that it's too strong? Or no?
I guess going off of Sedrum, the only fight Sedrum plays Pyro on is Underlurker because you can leave the ads. I think he might play on Revan Commando, I'm not sure.
He should play on Revan Knight Commanders.
Yeah, I don't know, Sedrum.
Fucking
He's weird.
Pyro's amazing. I play Pyro more than I do AP. I only play AP on Bulo, Walkers, and Revan.
Yeah. I think the big thing with the Pyro is if your flamethrower, the boss moved or something moved, and you had your flamethrower going, you're just losing a shit ton of damage.
Sure.
I would say outside of that, it's a fine spec. Might be a little high damage-wise. I think it's like, I saw someone post the...
It is pretty high, yeah.
5k, like 4.8, 4.9. Sure, Sedrum could do like 5k if they actually parse, but I think it's fine damage-wise. AP is just how much uptime it has as a quote-unquote melee. That just gives it its damage, and its burst.
I think what might help fix AP is if you're going to do a range nerf, it should be on Explosive Dart. Because that's what's allowing you to that's what it's allowing you to reset rail shot when you're outside of 15 meters. And it's not, I mean, the damage isn't horrible. Obviously you want to get in so you can mag burst, but it's not the worst thing in the world if you have to Explosive Dart. The problem with that is baked into the tree is you can reset your rail shot on Flame Sweep, which is what I do when Explosive Dart's on cooldown. So I don't know. They might just have to take that away. I will say...
would do a lot, I would think, in terms of being able to do damage at range.
Yes. I will say
just using
that...
Revan as an example, if Marauder gets... was it on an action? What do you call it? Ebola. If you get Ebola as a real melee class, you're not doing damage. You get it as a PT, you're doing damage. So that's where the disconnect is.
And you're doing... Obviously, you're doing less for as long as you have the dot on you, but it's still more than 0, which is what the Marauder is doing. Or the Juggernaut, as the case may be, because nobody's playing Marauder anymore.
Yeah. I mean, I guess Marauders were kings all of pretty much 2.0 in terms of what melee you brought to raids.
Yeah. And before that, even. Like in 1.0, everybody brought Marauders then, too. Is mostly Bloodthirst. Are you hurting for Bloodthirst in your raids? I wanted to ask this. Like,
no.
You feeling like you want those other buffs?
So our main team, it's 7 bounty hunters and a sniper until Revan.
And then it's 8 bounty hunters.
Damage-wise, and then it's like 8 bounty hunters. When we have like the other groups and when we have like 3 to 4 class buffs, I know that I guess player skill's not all there, but I don't think the buffs are amazing. I know like on Revan Commanders having more buffs for the burn phase is beneficial, but like overall I'm not concerned with having Bloodthirst in every class buff in raids currently. And that's mostly class balance, I would say. Yeah,
I think just the advantage of having that many bounty hunters outweighs what the other classes would bring. Also, the disadvantages of bringing a Marauder, for example. Let's see. That's basically all I have to say about bounty hunters for the most part. Is it really... Because the easy answer to this question is, are they OP because of hydraulics? Or the easy question to ask.
Yes.
Really? Because I don't
Yes.
actually think so.
You don't think so?
No, I mean, Revan is a very special case, I'll say. That's like a serious case of fight design and class design coinciding to make something way too good.
Yeah.
Outside of Revan, I'm not too certain that hydraulics are too good. Power Tech hydraulics are amazing, but Merc hydraulics are, the last 10 seconds. I don't think they get a lower cooldown, do you?
Yeah. So for Revan, hydraulics,
utility, yeah.
the way we use hydraulics compared to the way you hate to use hydraulics is they use hydraulics on like 4-1 to just keep the boss stationary, and use AoE taunts to reflect all the damage, which is extremely smart. There's stuff like that shouldn't be in the game for Nightmare. I would say for Blaster Master tanking wise, if I know I messed up, I'm safe because of hydraulics.
Yeah.
Whereas a Jug or Assassin are like, oh well, guess what, you died. Hello, well. And then for Koratani, hydraulics is extremely beneficial, just because the knockbacks and other stuff that happens in the fight.
Well, let me play devil's advocate here. And actually, I'm not playing devil's advocate. This is what I actually think. So when an assassin is cheesing a mechanic with Force Shroud, do you think the same thing? Because I don't. Like, let's take your Master Blaster example when he knocks you back, and you use hydraulics to cheese it. Or a Juggernaut Saber Reflect something that should kill him, but doesn't because he has Saber Reflect.
I guess that is a trade-off, yeah, for tanks classes. Like, I honestly, on Blaster Master, if the PTs didn't get the new defensive cooldowns on Explosive Field, I probably would never want to tank Blaster Master because Energy Shield isn't enough.
Yeah.
Whereas Assassins have Shroud and Jugs of Saber Reflect for the beam from the Little Droid. So it is a trade-off, but I think hydraulics currently needs to be addressed. Maybe you can stay, but I think they need to either nerf the duration, needs to go back down to 6 seconds. That's what I feel.
Really?
Yep.
How do I feel about that? It does last for fucking ever. And root breaks are really prevalent in PvP, and it really bothers me since I only PvP on my Juggernaut. But I don't know. I don't know if anything needs to be done to address hydraulics specifically. Maybe it is. I don't know. That's a really tough question since I've re-rolled essentially for it.
Yeah. I mean, I think they have bigger other stuff to address, like getting damage within 100, 300 of one another, are doing their best to do that, but like when IO's at 5300 and you have some classes at like low 4Ks, it's kind of depressing. I mean, I guess this is me speaking from a Madness perspective, but it can't do... I think when I was doing my Dolphy guide for it, my highest parse was 4K Mikey with all his gear at like 4.2, and that's abysmal compared to where some classes are.
Oh yeah, that's really terrible. So, okay, we talked a lot about bounty hunters. What class or classes needs the most attention? And in what roles? What do you think, Mike? I would say probably Marauders. Because, I mean, every damn Marauder that I know of has quit. I'm pretty sure, I mean, Justin keeps track of the thing, and he basically said in not so many words that every Marauder that was good has quit. Or has quit playing Marauder anyway.
I would agree with that. Out of our Marauders, Trill... I think Beast is still playing Marauder. He's not raiding with us, he's raiding with Intrepid. I'm pretty sure he's on a Sentinel. And that's just mostly operational design. Annihilation does fine damage, Carnage, even though it's changed and slower, I think it's still viable in raids, just because of the burst it offers. It's just the whole uptime thing, is what it relates back to.
Yeah. Well, from what I hear from the people who play Marauders, Annihilation is fine. It's just not fun to play, like, at all. I couldn't tell you what specifically they changed, and unfortunately Justin couldn't be here, so he can't explain it. But Snicker is actually saying Marauder's rotation is the only thing wrong. So, yeah, I mean that would seem to.
I mean,
oh yeah, Furion, you can tell me what is wrong with
everything-
Annihilation.
For everything but Revan, I think routers are fine.
Well, yeah.
And they're just the rotations are what seems to be frustrating a lot of people.
Well, how about Underlurker?
And I couldn't really tell you
'Cause
what's wrong with Annihilation because I hate it. Anyways.
What do you do on Underlurker? Can you do Underlurker on a Marauder, do you think?
Yeah, I did it. Yeah.
Alright. Because, I mean, I asked that because you don't have, like... I can do that on my Juggernaut because of Unstoppable and Endure Pain. So I was kind of wondering what you do to get around the super mega route.
And the weird melee attacks that are on the hands. Okay, let's just heal me more. I'm in
Oh
melee
my god.
range.
I fucking hate that shit. They blow me the fuck up a lot of the time.
Yeah. I was healing last night, and we had a Calizzo on a Juggernaut, and like he was just taking so much more damage. It's like, why is that a thing that because he's melee, he's getting hit with more damage?
Snicker brings up engineering, or somebody brought up engineering for snipers. Engineering got a lot of attention, but I would argue that it got a lot of theoretical DPS that will never happen in a raid. Just because of its special plasma probe requirements. Yeah, you can move the probe now, which is super good. That's a great quality of life improvement, but you spend energy to do that. And so you're going to be starved, and you don't have EMP in its old form to reset your energy anymore. I'm pretty sure, as far as I am aware, nobody is playing Engineering Sniper in a real raid. Unless they're just fucking around.
Forticat will come back and he will play engineering in a raid.
Even that guy, what was his name? Zahik? I think he's in Rapid
Yeah.
Soth. He played engineering. He played engineering a lot, but I don't think he's like. I'm pretty sure he's not playing it in raids. So other than Marauders, who needs attention?
Ralos, the one and only
Ops?
operative DPS. Let's say that's a sour subject to bring up around him. He always. This is where I get that Marauders were king since 2.0. And I don't know. Operatives. I don't know how you would play that in a raid as a DPS. Maybe we can find Kesmet and give him a run for his money, but I don't think he would have very much fun on operative in most
The
fights.
damage seems okay.
Yeah.
What is the problem with operatives?
The problem is the problem with operatives is just the whole melee without a lead and just gotta roll around everywhere. I guess it's like the whole thing with every melee class that's not a power tech is just some of the fights are just so unfriendly that you're doing more harm than good bringing that class to the raid.
Would you is the positional requirements, like being behind the boss, is that a problem still, or are people just playing lethality and ignoring it?
Pretty sure when he played for the Stormer raids, we didn't even know it's not really translatable to hard mode.
Sure.
He was playing lethality.
Pretty sure they changed backstab backstab to be able to face the boss now.
No, not backstab.
Like, really consistently.
The replacement, the lethality replacement for backstab can do that, but not concealment.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I mean, I play my operative in PvP. I can't backstab from the front.
Alright.
But you're
So I thought you must be
terrible
able to
PvP.
summon it.
I'm fine. All right. Anything else anybody wants to say about balance? Okay. I got nothing else to say except don't nerf Vengeance. Vengeance is fine. Leave it alone.
Take away all that they're healing.
So
it's pretty beast and ranked.
something big happened.
But I'm okay with that.
Something big and shitty happened last lockout. And we're not going to explain anything about how to do it. But it's a serious exploit that is getting people a lot of free gear and not not titles, but like achievements, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's mounts.
Mounts and shit. And it's basically spreading like a cancer from Harbinger. It's made its way to Pot 5. I'm sure it's on a lot of other servers by now. It has to do with getting Cortani's entire loot table given to you for free. Again, we're not going to tell you how to do it. We will just encourage everybody not to do it. Because it is basically cheating, and once they fix it, we'll talk about it, and you'll understand that its execution is nothing like what people did with Nephra. Nephra is like jaywalking, and this is murder. Miles, do you have anything you want to say about the exploit?
Okay. Yes, I do.
Sure.
Because we're at the dead center of it. So this is gonna be weird, and to people listening, I apologize. Anyhow, our lockout got stolen or I'm not exactly sure the full 100% story because it's he says she say. Anyway, if and when you do get a 5 out of 5 hard mode lockout, do not join random groups. Do not do anything of that sort. That's how it works. I apologize to everyone that's being affected by the free 198 gear on all the servers, and the people that carried over the lockout from last clear, because we were not 5 out of 5 this week. You are scumbags, and I don't know why you consider yourself raiders, so to speak, because getting free gear and basically cheating ruins the content, and I don't know why you would do it in the first place.
Oh, that's really cool. If this person in the chat isn't lying to me, well, actually, there's no reason to advertise this to other people. Other than to say, that doesn't surprise me coming from the source.
Yeah. Like, I guess my whole perspective and the Zord perspective is we're sad that it was our fault that it got out.
I mean, I don't think anybody could rightly blame you. I mean, that would be silly. The people that need to be banned, like, we've talked about this. I think it was, I mean, if you want me to do a call out here?
I don't really want to name shame.
Okay.
I did what I can do with the subject. I'd rather just not have all that. But
Suffice to say, these people have been reported. I've actually reported some of the people advertising it on Pot 5, or at least the one person I noticed.
Yeah.
This is a really shitty time for it to happen, too, because nobody is at BioWare right now, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah. The main thing is when people 4 months from now are crying about the longevity of the content and that they're done with raids and
that's true.
min-max already. You did it to yourself if you used the exploit and exploited it. I don't know why you would do that. As someone who enjoys raiding content and a little amount of gears we get, like during progression, it's really fun because you have to execute really extremely well, or you won't kill bosses. Going to a boss with 198 min-max mods and enhancements and killing it wouldn't feel right to me. So I guess that's what I'm going to say on the subject, and I again apologize to everyone that's being affected by it.
No, that's a good point. I didn't think of it. It really sucks that... I don't know.
Meatless?
Go ahead.
Oh, I think I know why they wanted that instant gratification. They're all a bunch of fat kids. They're used to picking up the Twinkies and the Ho-Hos and eating them right away.
Tom speaks
Coming
from
from the fat
experience.
kid.
I do. I know. It's rough life.
Okay. That's all I got left for my notes on the show. Are there any topics you guys want to bring up as relates to Shadow of Revan launch or anything that's happened since then?
Life Day? The tree farming is real?
Tree farming, what is that?
You go to one of the main planets, and there's
is that
special
when you
droids that spawn.
You throw a snowball at the droid and get a
And
tree.
yeah, you chuck a snowball at a droid, and you get a tree. You get to pick from 4 of them. And you can have up to 50 each. I am planning on building a Tatooine stronghold to restore the holographic tree forests of Tatooine.
Well, good luck with that, Tom.
It's happening.
All right. Any other topics other than tree farming? Alrighty. That'll be it for us from State of the Galaxy. Thank you to Miles for showing up, filling in for Justin. It was short notice. I appreciate you. Appreciate you being here. I've got no other announcements other than to say we'll be raiding tomorrow, 7:30 Central Standard Time. We're going to be doing our hard mode farm and then going back into Revan, most likely. Thank you all for watching. We'll see you all tomorrow.